My name is Jamie Andrews, and I'm going to give you a quick update on the Ecovacs X2 and the latest firmware release, firmware version 1.7. I've got lots of requests from users asking if the latest firmware has improved some of the navigation issues that I addressed in the recent review of the Ecovacs X2. And spoiler alert, if you are interested, the short answer is no. There are no known improvements. However, if you want to watch how the firmware update caused a bug that sent me on a whirlwind of testing for 2 days, thinking that it was possibly fixed, only to realize that it wasn't, and also to expose a few more navigation issues with X2, stay tuned as we're going to go over those today in this video. Now, the first navigation issue I exposed in my review video, which was the fact that when vacuuming on carpet and on hard floor surfaces, the X2 makes too wide of a turn when passing, leaving a lot of the debris on the floor. As you can see here in this rice pickup test, it leaves 3 distinct lines, and that's because it is turning too wide. Now, I did report this to Ecovacs, and they said they were planning on fixing it. So I was hoping this new firmware update was going to fix it. So that leads me to how I thought it was possibly fixed. A user on the Ecovacs subreddit posted that a new firmware update had improved the navigation. As you can see here in the before, this is the previous version 1.62. And then here in the new firmware version, he does the same exact floor plan. And as you can see, the navigation is tighter and there are more passes, seemingly meaning that it has been fixed. So I went to test this myself. After the firmware update, it did appear to be fixed. As you can see here in my kitchen, it is making much tighter passes. It wasn't until I switched to vacuum only mode to do my vacuum test that I realized it wasn't entirely fixed. And here is the same test, but in vacuum only mode. And as you can see, the passes are like they were before, not very tight, and in turn missing much of the floor. I immediately went back to the Ecovacs subreddit and posted my findings, as you can see here, letting everybody know that, yeah, it did appear to be fixed in vacuum and mop mode, but in vacuum only mode, the same exact problem still existed. I decided to do a little bit more testing here in my living room. Now, this is the X2 running in vacuum and mop mode. So basically the mopping pads are being lifted up here. And as you can see, there are a lot more passes and they are tighter. This kind of piqued my curiosity because the Ecovacs X2 has a deep scrubbing or deep mopping mode, which when turned on will make tighter passes. This reminded me of deep scrubbing mode being enabled, but in fact it wasn't enabled in my app. And this is where the bug comes into play. In my next test, I decided to do vacuum and mopping, but this time turn on deep scrubbing to see what effect it would have. And it pretty much so didn't have any real change. The pattern appeared to be about the same as it was before with it turned off. Now would also be a good time to mention another weird navigation quirk of the X2 that I didn't mention in my review video. As you notice, it should be doing straight lines back and forth, but the X2 wobbles left and right when it is vacuuming. And the problem is in vacuum mode, this makes the problem even worse. I'm not sure why it does this. I've not seen another robot with smart navigation, whether it be with LiDAR or video, have this issue, and hopefully they can get it fixed. I decided to run one more test, this time turning deep scrubbing back off, but running it in vacuum and mop mode once again. And this is when I realized the entire thing sent me on a 2-day whirlwind and wasted all my time. You see, the problem has reverted back. Now with deep scrubbing turned off, as you can see here, the lines are no longer as tight, and we have reverted back to the same problem. So it appears the firmware update has basically somehow turned on deep scrubbing without it being turned on in the app. And as soon as you toggle it once on and once off, the problem comes right back. So they have not fixed the issue at all, and it wasted a few days of my time thinking that they possibly had. Now I will tell you about one more navigation issue that I went over a bit in my review, but didn't focus on it enough. You see, a lot of people talked about this issue after my review, and I figured I would highlight it a bit more. And that's with the Ecovacs X2 getting lost in your house. I noticed this actually has gotten worse since the last update. When I will send it out to do a room cleaning in my kitchen, it will constantly tell me that it can't get to the destination, and there's nothing blocking it from getting to the destination at all. It'll just run around and bump into walls and appear very lost and eventually give up. Now the only thing I'm faced with at this point is having to remap my house. The other thing that I will note is the issues with room divide have not been fixed. I still cannot divide any of my rooms in my house. So it appears this latest firmware update has not fixed anything, at least that I can tell. If you have the X2 and you found that it has fixed something, drop a comment down below. And as always, I will continue to test the X2, and as soon as they fix some of these issues, I'll make sure to do a follow-up video. I'll also mention that several of you asked me to do a comparison with this, the Dreamy L20, and the Roborock S8 Pro Ultra. I just feel at this point the comparison wouldn't be fair with all these issues with the X2. I would like for Ecovacs to iron out these issues and get them fixed, and then I will do a proper head-to-head. Alright, thanks for watching this video. Take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.